Imagine a world with no predators, no disease, and an endless supply of food and water. A perfect paradise where all your needs are met. What do you think would happen? Would it be a utopia of peace and prosperity? Or would something much darker unfold? In the 1960s, a scientist named Dr. John B. Calhoun set out to answer this very question. And what he discovered is one of the most chilling and debated experiments in modern history. An experiment that some believe holds a mirror to our own society. This is the story of Universe 25. Back in the quiet labs of the National Institute of Mental Health, Dr. Calhoun was obsessed with a single idea. What happens when life becomes too easy? He wanted to know if a society could survive without struggle, without purpose. So in 1968, he built his 25th attempt at a perfect world, a mouse utopia he called Universe 25. Picture this: a large enclosed metal tank, a small city for mice. Inside, there were perfect nesting boxes, always full food hoppers, clean water on tap, and a perfectly controlled temperature. It was a world engineered for abundance, safety, and peace. It was, in every measurable way, a paradise. Into this paradise, Calhoun introduced the first inhabitants, 4 male and 4 female mice. These 8 pioneers were the Adam and Eve of a new world, and from their simple beginning, an incredible and terrifying story would unfold. The first phase of the experiment was like a dream come true. The mice adapted quickly. They explored their new home, they built cozy nests, and they established a social order. With unlimited food and no dangers, they thrived. The population began to grow at an incredible rate, doubling every 55 days. Calhoun watched, meticulously taking notes. This was the golden age. By day 315, the population had swelled to over 600 mice. The decline began subtly. As the population grew denser, the world that once seemed so vast began to feel small and crowded. Competition for social roles, not for resources, became fierce. The strongest males started to control the best nesting areas and easiest access to food. Weaker males were pushed to the margins of society, becoming isolated, withdrawn, and attacked. The females, who were once calm and nurturing mothers, became anxious and aggressive. Some stopped building proper nests for their young. Others began to abandon their own litters, or even worse, attack them. The invisible glue holding their society together, the social bonds, the norms, the very fabric of their community, was starting to dissolve. Despite having everything they could ever need, the mice were becoming incredibly violent. Fights would break out over seemingly nothing. A bit of space, accidental contact, even just looking at another mouse the wrong way. Some males formed violent gangs, patrolling the corridors of Universe 25 and attacking others without provocation. The females retreated deeper into their nesting boxes, refusing to mate or care for their young. And amidst this rising chaos, a strange and disturbing new class of mice began to appear. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. These mice were sleek, healthy, and perfectly groomed. Their fur was clean and unscarred by violence. They were, in a word, beautiful. But their beauty was only skin deep. They didn't participate in society. They didn't fight. They didn't mate. They didn't socialize. They did nothing but eat, sleep, and groom themselves in obsessive, repetitive cycles. They were physically perfect specimens, but psychologically, they were empty. Completely detached from the chaos and violence erupting around them, they represented a chilling form of surrender. They had given up on the world, choosing to retreat into a bubble of self-absorption. As the social order continued to crumble, the beautiful ones became the majority. And Universe 25, which was once buzzing with life and activity, started to grow eerily silent. A paradise was transforming into a psychological prison. As the experiment entered its final, tragic stages, the society completely collapsed. Reproduction ground to a halt. The few females that did give birth had lost all maternal instinct, and infant mortality skyrocketed to nearly 100%. The males were either completely passive, like the beautiful ones, or hyper-aggressive and psychotic. Cannibalism emerged, not out of hunger. Food was still plentiful, but out of a complete breakdown of social behavior. The mice lost the ability to do the things that made them mice. They couldn't form relationships. They couldn't care for their young. They couldn't even engage in the basic rituals of their species. Most mice just huddled alone, staring blankly into space, trapped in their own minds. Calhoun called this phenomenon the behavioral sink. It's a point of no return, a social collapse so complete that the population loses all capacity to recover, even if the conditions remain perfect. The population peaked at around 2,200 mice. From there, it was a free fall. No new births, no new families, just the aging survivors, living out their meaningless lives until the very last one died. By day 2,500, Universe 25 was dead. Every single mouse was gone. A world that was given everything, a paradise built on comfort and abundance, had destroyed itself from within. So, what does this all mean? Was Calhoun's experiment just a disturbing story about mice, or was it a warning? He himself believed it was a grim metaphor for humanity. He argued that when life lacks challenge and purpose, when all our basic needs are met without effort, we lose the very things that make us who we are. We lose our drive, our social bonds, our sense of community. He worried that a future of complete ease and comfort could lead to our own behavioral sink. Of course, the experiment has its critics. Many argue you can't compare mouse behavior directly to complex human societies. We have culture, technology, art, and the ability for self-reflection. We are not just slaves to our biology, and that's a fair point. But still, the story of Universe 25 lingers. Look around at our world today. We see rising rates of social isolation, digital distraction, and a feeling of meaninglessness for many, even amidst unprecedented material wealth. Are the beautiful ones among us? People who retreat from the complexities of the world into their own digital bubbles, perfectly curated but psychologically detached? The experiment doesn't give us answers, but it forces us to ask terrifying questions. Is our modern comfort a blessing, or is it a gilded cage? By removing all of life's struggles, do we risk losing our souls? The fate of Universe 25 is a stark reminder that a paradise without purpose can become its own kind of hell. Perhaps the struggle itself is what gives our lives meaning. Calhoun's findings didn't just ripple through the scientific community, they sent a tidal wave of shock and debate. He argued that Universe 25 wasn't just about mice. It was a mirror, reflecting humanity itself. His conclusion was chilling. When a species no longer needs to struggle for survival, when all its physical needs are met and every desire is fulfilled, its psychological needs begin to crumble. Things like meaning, purpose, and connection, these can't be manufactured or guaranteed like food and water. Without them, he warned, societies decay, no matter how materially abundant they become. He wrote a line that still echoes today. In the midst of plenty, death finds its own path, not through hunger or disease, but through the collapse of purpose. The parallels to our own world were stark and unsettling. Urban overcrowding, social isolation, senseless violence, and a growing population of beautiful ones, people who are disengaged, self-absorbed, and utterly detached from the realities of social life. Many looked at the mouse Utopia and saw a dark prophecy for the modern world, a warning of where our own society might be headed. So, what does Universe 25 really tell us? Is it a crystal ball showing our inevitable doom? Some critics dismiss the experiment as a gross oversimplification. After all, we're not mice. We have consciousness, morality, culture, and an incredible ability to adapt and change our circumstances. We can reflect on our own behavior and choose a different path. But others saw a haunting, undeniable truth in the results. In our own times of unprecedented abundance, we often seem to lose the very traits that once made us thrive: cooperation, empathy, drive, and a sense of shared purpose. We have an innate tendency to seek comfort, not challenge. We chase pleasure, not progress. We prioritize safety over meaning. And as our lives become more and more comfortable, the human spirit, just like the spirits of the mice in Universe 25, can begin to fade. Calhoun himself warned that modern society was entering its own behavioral sink. He saw our cities swelling to unmanageable sizes, families shrinking, and loneliness becoming a silent epidemic. He feared that one day, the invisible walls of Universe 25 would no longer just belong to mice, but to us. Years later, other scientists tried to replicate Calhoun's results. Some succeeded partially, while others did not find the exact same outcome. Yet, a core psychological pattern remained consistent across many studies. When social structure collapses, no amount of material abundance can save a population. This points to a fundamental truth about complex beings, including humans. We need more than just food and shelter to survive. We need them to thrive. We need purpose. We need a sense of belonging. We even need a healthy amount of struggle to keep us sharp and engaged. Without these essential psychological ingredients, societies stagnate, individuals lose their direction, and entire civilizations can crumble. Not from external threats like war or famine, but from a quiet decay that begins from within. Today, we see echoes of Universe 25 everywhere we look. We see it in digital isolation, where people have thousands of online friends but no one to talk to. We see it in social media echo chambers that amplify division. We see it in the decline of community and the rise of depression and anxiety, even in the most prosperous nations. We live in a world that is more connected than ever before, yet many of us feel more divided and lonely than at any time in history. Are we too slowly becoming the beautiful ones? When Calhoun walked into the dead silent enclosure of Universe 25 for the last time, he described an almost spiritual emptiness that hung in the air. The space was still. The feeding stations were overflowing with food. The elaborate nests were clean and untouched. And yet, the silence was absolute. A silence born not of violence or a sudden disaster, but of complete and total apathy. He stood there, surrounded by abundance and the tiny bodies of the last mice, and realized he had witnessed something far greater than just a scientific result. He had seen the tangible collapse of meaning itself. In his final notes on the experiment, Calhoun wrote, "Death, in this universe, came not from starvation, but from the absence of life's challenge. Without purpose, existence itself became a disease." It's a profound and terrifying thought. Today, Universe 25 remains one of the most disturbing and controversial psychological experiments ever conducted. It raises questions that we are still struggling to answer half a century later. If comfort can destroy a species, if abundance can lead to decay, and if meaning cannot be given but must be earned through effort, then what does that say about our own future? Perhaps the experiment was never really about mice at all. Perhaps Universe 25 was always meant to be a mirror, and we are staring into its reflection right now. As we build smarter cities, safer homes, and easier lives, we must ask ourselves a critical question. Are we creating a paradise, or are we inadvertently building a gilded cage? The walls of Universe 25 were invisible at first. They weren't made of steel, but of comfort. They weren't built with fear, but with ease. And by the time its inhabitants realized they were trapped, it was already far too late. But maybe there's another side to this story, a glimmer of hope. Calhoun himself believed that awareness could be our salvation. If we can recognize the signs of the behavioral sink before it completely consumes us, perhaps we can rebuild what the mice could not. He envisioned a future where challenge is embraced, not avoided, where creativity replaces conformity, and where genuine human connection triumphs over digital isolation. He imagined a future where comfort exists, but never at the cost of purpose. The lesson of Universe 25, then, is not simply that abundance kills, it's that meaning must always come first. Without it, even paradise can become a tomb. Imagine, centuries from now, future archaeologists discovering the notes from Universe 25. They see the diagrams of the enclosure, the population charts showing the rise and fall, and they will inevitably wonder, did humanity learn from this? Or did we ignore the warning and become the experiment ourselves? As our technology grows at an exponential rate and society accelerates, this question becomes more urgent with each passing day. We have conquered hunger, many diseases, and physical distance, yet we find ourselves struggling with loneliness, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of emptiness. Universe 25 wasn't just a laboratory study, it was a prophecy. And unless we find a way to restore the purpose that built our civilizations in the first place, we may follow the same silent, tragic path, surrounded by every comfort imaginable, yet starved for meaning. Dr. John B. Calhoun died in 1995, but his experiment and its haunting message live on. In every crowded city, in every glowing screen that demands our attention, in every quiet echo of modern life, the story of Universe 25 whispers to us. It tells us that without struggle, there is no growth. Without connection, there is no true life. And without purpose, even paradise is a form of hell. So the question remains, as relevant today as it was half a century ago. When comfort becomes our cage, will we have the strength to break free? Thank you for watching. If this story made you think, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into science and humanity.